What's up YouTube? Evan from evolutionaryaesthetics.com, and in today's video I'm going to walk you guys through another form of drop set or superset that you can do for your triceps, and I'll link in the corner a different one I posted a few weeks ago, and that one was called the Triceps Tricep of Terror. And the way that this one will vary compared to that one is that in the Tricep of Terror you were going between 3 different positions, but for this superset you'll just be going between 2 different positions. The equipment that you need for this superset will be a cable station, and it can either be just one pulley, or if you have access to a dual arm cable tower, I would opt to use that one. This superset is similar to the Tricep of Terror, as in the drop set you'll be doing is a mechanical drop set, so the position you are in relation to the pulley will determine where the exercise is the hardest, and where the exercise is the hardest is where you're going to spend the most time. This superset starts off with your typical cable tricep press down, and the part of the range of motion where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, where you should spend the most time, is in that fully straightened position of your elbow. So once you get to this bottom position, when your elbow is relatively straight, I want you guys to make sure that you are holding the squeeze for at least 1 second. It doesn't have to be anything crazy like a 3-second hold, but make sure that when you get to that bottom position, you are getting a strong contraction. If you have access to the dual arm cable tower like I'm using in this video, biggest thing here is that you want the line from the cable to match the line of your upper arm. So I'll draw it out for you. So the cable here, this line is relatively the same as the line of my arm going across my body. You want to make sure that you set the pulleys in a position where those lines are relatively parallel with each other. Some execution cues that you guys want to make sure you're doing, that I've gone through these on the other tricep exercises I've gone through on my channel so far, is that when you are doing these reps, you want to limit the amount of motion that is occurring at your shoulder, whether that will be like your shoulder will roll forward or rock back in this direction. You want to make sure that your shoulder doesn't do that motion. You want to get your starting position and be able to hold it throughout, as well as making sure that your elbow doesn't shift forward or backwards throughout the set. So the first part of the superset will be these typical cable crossbody extensions if you have both arms, or just one pulley is fine if that's all you have access to. And then the superset part of this exercise will be you will switch which hand is holding the cable. So in this video you can see that his left hand is grabbed onto the right cable and his right hand is grabbed onto the left cable. What you'll do is you'll switch which hand is holding onto the cable, and then you will do a little spinny thing here, and then your arms are going to be elevated out in front of you. This second position in the superset will completely change where in the rep is going to be the hardest for you. So compared to position number 1, where you were holding the squeeze, that's where the resistance was the greatest. But here for the second half, since we already fatigued that first part of your tricep where your elbow would be fully extended, so we'll say position number 1, we were fatiguing where your arm was relatively straight. For this second half of the superset, we are more focused on this more lengthened range of your tricep. And how we can see this is with this line from the cable in our forearm, that it's going to be about a 90-degree angle towards the more lengthened range. So we're training a completely different part of that tricep. With the dual arm option, you can see that the resistance profile stays relatively the same, as this close to 90-ish degree angle is when we are in a much more flexed elbow position compared to when you were doing the tricep extensions when his arm or either of our arms were straight out. Some other things to note if you're going to do this dual arm variation is that you want the line of this cable and the line of your upper arm to point in relatively close to the same direction. And then same cues will apply as for the first half of this superset, where you want to make sure that your elbow doesn't shift in any direction, and you want to limit the amount of rocking in either direction that your shoulder could do. Because you already spent time in the first position in the superset, holding the squeeze with your arm in a relatively straightened position, when you are doing the second part of the drop set, you do not have to get to a fully straightened elbow just because we already spent time fatiguing those fibers, and that's not where the rep is hardest. So when you're performing the second half of the superset, the goal here is to go super slow on the way down, maybe hold that stretch for a little bit, and then kind of pump, and you can do almost partials. It just doesn't have to be a full range of motion. If you pick the weight correctly, you should be able to do 10 to 15 reps for the first position, flip around, and then be able to get 10 to 15 reps more for that second position. This exercise is included within my most recent workout program with the goal of giving you anchor arms. If you want to watch a video where I walk you through the program, why I made it, and how we're going to achieve the goal of getting you anchor arms, I'll put that video up in the corner. your arms are already huge and you don't want them to get any bigger, or you just don't want your arm to get bigger in the first place, you can head to my website at evolutionaryaesthetics.com, and I have other types of workout programs for you. So say instead of growing arms, you want to get a bigger butt, that program is available to you. Also on my website is my Potent Priorities ebook, and it gives you 4 foundational things to put the majority of your efforts into, whether you are a gym newbie and you've never stepped foot in a gym, or you're looking to optimize and get every single molecule of gains you possibly could. If you like this superset, subscribe to this channel, share it with someone who you want to do it with or you think might need to bring up their triceps. Comment if you tried the superset and you liked it, or if you hated it in the best way or worst way possible, I guess. And we'll see each other in the next video.